Does anyone else find it a little bit concerning that the title which got the biggest pop from the crowd at Gamescom today was the 11-year-old Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which I grabbed my copy of from the shelf, my original copy from back in 2015. Now, don't get me wrong, this game is phenomenal. It is a genre-defining experience. If you have not played this, you must play this game. It is exceptional on almost every single level. And you know what? I think the changes that CD Projekt rolled out today that are going to be coming to this, I think all of them look fantastic. And I think a lot of them are also necessary. The traversal of the environment in this game was a little bit finicky originally. The graphical quality of this game, especially on the Xbox One, is a little blurry throughout this game in various places. The new abilities, new enemy attacks, all that sort of stuff, I think it looks cool. I think it looks good. But should we really be that excited for an 11-year-old game in 2026? So let's put this to the side for a second and just think. Why did we not get another new genre-defining experience shown to us today at Gamescom? Well, the answer is pretty simple, and some of you out there are going to know the answer. It's because the game industry, especially the Western game industry, has become so risk-averse that it is now practically afraid to do almost anything that is new or potentially cutting edge. That's why we now have an industry that has got remake after remake, remaster after remaster. It is non-stop. And if it's not that, what else is it? Well, it's a free-to-play multiplayer game that can be endlessly monetized forever. So unless you're doing one of those two things, some old franchise that we know will sell just on the name recognition alone, or free-to-play online multiplayer endless monetization, most developers, most publishers really don't want to hear your story. They're going to send you packing. They want something that instead they think is going to guarantee them results. Well, I've got news for you. This is going to reach breaking point. I've about reached my breaking point with remakes and remasters. Like I've said, some of them are good. I've played some of them. I've got some of them. I think the Silent Hill 2 remake recently, that came out last year, or was it the year before last at this point? Phenomenal, exceptional, brilliant game, 9 out of 10 game for me, easily. But the industry needs to move forward. And I love nostalgia. I'd say as much as the next person, probably more than the next person in a lot of ways. But where is the next game that's going to light this industry on fire? And by the way, I'm going to do a video on this channel, probably sometime this week, if we get space in the schedule, where I'm going to do an unboxing of this, because we're talking a lot about physical games recently, right? You will be in shock when you see what is included in this case. I mean, night and day difference from today versus 2015. Let's look at Gamescom. Let's look at what was shown. And I'll tell you what I thought was exciting, what I didn't really care too much for. And I'm also going to have quite a few questions for you guys as well. What should I be paying more attention to? What should I give a second chance to in some cases? I'm Shooter. Subscribe if you're new. I'm trying to share my very real passion for this industry. I want to point out the bad and then hopefully push it in a better direction, because we know there can be very good that comes from this industry in various different forms. Software, hardware, you name it. But unless we keep up the pressure on these companies, we're going to continue to get shafted by them. So subscribe if you're new. We just broke 1,200 subscribers. Let's hit 2,000 as quickly as humanly possible. Hit like on this video. Leave me your comments as always. The comments have been fantastic, by the way. Thank you all so much. And let's take a look at Gamescom. Let's see what was shown. What did you guys get immediately excited by at Gamescom? Because like I said, I do not think this is all trash by any means. But there's a lot of mediocrity, a lot of stuff that looks the same. And there are a few things in here that are just really questionable. So, of course, we get The Witcher 3, and IGN put together this little playlist of everything that was shown, which is pretty useful for a video like this. The Witcher 3, like I said, I think those changes look good. I think they are kind of necessary, to be honest. And I think they're going to produce a fantastic outcome. And, of course, they are all free. They are all free if you own the game already. Just fantastic. Why is CD Projekt Red on a pedestal with us gamers most of the time, not all of the time? Because of business moves like this, where the customer is treated with respect. I'm not going to go through every single one of these games. The ones that I skip over, you can probably guess my opinion on them. But there are a few on here that I want to touch on. For instance, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Tactics. I think this looked good. I think this looks fun. I'm a massive Rainbow Six fan. Have been since Rogue Spear, way back in the day on PC. There is something that the Rainbow Six community has been calling for now for over a decade. That is a return to the FPS single-player campaign of the old games. That is not this. Like I said, I think this looks good. It doesn't look bad. I'll probably have fun with it. But the community wants a single-player campaign. It wants Terrorist Hunt, like you can play in Vegas and Vegas 2. I went back to Vegas 2 a couple of weeks back and played a few modes of Terrorist Hunt, a few rounds of Terrorist Hunt. Super fun mode. But instead, we get this. And why? Well, probably because they can release new operators and new maps and new skins and what do you know? Endless monetization. Brilliant. Gears of War E-Day. I played the beta for this a couple of weekends back. This is the kind of game that proves Microsoft can, on occasion, know what it is doing and deliver. This is the type of game that can get people onto the Xbox platform because it played great. The PvE mode was fantastic. The PvP mode, I think, was even better. The new traversal abilities that you have in that game now, the ability to jump, the verticality of the levels that you can now really exploit with all of these new movement features, the sliding under things, fantastic. Really looking forward to it. May grab that on day one. Not totally decided on that yet, but I may. Silent Hill Townfall. I think what they're trying to do with Silent Hill is turn it into Resident Evil and crank out a game almost every single year. The problem is these games are nowhere near the quality of what Capcom are currently putting out with Resident Evil. I mentioned the Silent Hill 2 remake a minute ago. Phenomenal, 9 out of 10 game easily, if not higher. Then I played Silent Hill F. And F, yes, multiple F words define my experience with that game. Just pure mediocrity, nothing special whatsoever, a complete waste of my time. I didn't even finish it. I got like 4 hours into it probably, had seen enough, shut it off, and I think I may have sold that on eBay. So yeah, if you want to really bring the Silent Hill franchise onto the same level as modern Resident Evil games, they've got to be of a similar quality of those games, which they are currently not. Can you get them there? I bet you can, but that's probably going to mean stopping this annual or biannual cranking out of these games. What else do we have here? Crimson Desert Enhanced. I never got on the Crimson Desert bandwagon. That game to me looks like a jack of all trades, master of none. I do not like games like that. Maybe I'm wrong. But again, I do not want some endless 120-hour experience. No, thank you. I prefer a much more focused experience that really delivers well on the precise mechanics that that game is trying to deliver on. So yeah, that just was not for me. Loft Song, however this is pronounced, I think this looked great. I mean, look at the art style here. Big time limbo vibes from this. Looks like an interesting original concept and an indie game that I can be excited for. I used to like indie games on the Xbox 360 Summer of Arcade days, and then I think the market got completely saturated. It got filled with so much junk that I basically gave up on the indie game scene a long time ago. I know there's a lot of good stuff out there, probably a lot of good stuff that I've missed as a result of that. But that looks like something that for me is cutting through the chaff. Mega Man Dual Override. I've never been a massive Mega Man fan, but I know a lot of you out there certainly are. I've played some of the old ones. I think on one of those collections that was on the Switch, maybe, or on the 3DS. I don't remember what I had it on, but I know a lot of people are excited for that, and I think that actually looked pretty good. Rayman Legends Retold. I've actually got a pretty serious problem with this. Why does this exist? I mean, seriously, Ubisoft, why are you putting time and money into this? The original Rayman Legends is a phenomenal game. It has a fantastic art style. I mean, it's a beautiful game. And it also plays beautifully as well. So it is hitting like every single point that we want a game to hit. Why does it need this? Look at this. This new kind of generic Nintendo-y style artwork, graphics. I mean, what was the point? What was the point? What else do we have here? Control Resonance. I played the original Control. I could not get into that game for whatever reason. If you've played the original Control, can you please tell me what I was maybe missing with that game? Because from what I can tell, looking a bit more into it since, I should love that game. So what am I missing there? I'm not sure myself, but what did you love about it? Please let me know. The Blood of Dawnwalker. This looks good. Looks like some vampire kind of game. Looks like a lot of fun, but I've never heard of it before now, I don't think. And apparently it's out in like 2 weeks. So it didn't get me excited enough to go out and buy it in 2 weeks, but it's definitely something that I will now keep an eye on. Game of Thrones War for Westeros. Gameplay looked great. And you know what else I loved about this? They got the original actors in this game. Their likeness, their voices, everything. That is excellent. When games do that, it's just a much better experience. When you're trying to bring someone over from the film, TV world into the game world, it's far more immersive when you have the actual actors doing that, taking you along for that ride. Do you guys remember on the PS2, the GameCube, the Xbox, the sixth generation of consoles, there were a lot of James Bond games which never had a license for an actual Bond actor, so it's just some generic James Bond guy that you're playing as, and they always never had the same bite for me as the ones that did have the original licensed actor, the Pierce Brosnans of the world, the Sean Connerys of the world. So yeah, that I think just that's that extra little touch that's going to make that game special. Exodus, this looked good. This gave me strong Mass Effect vibes. I actually just finished up a replay of the original Mass Effect this past week. Phenomenal game. That's one of my most replayed games of all time. I think this is hitting the same notes. However, I think it was also hitting a few of those Disney superhero notes, which always make me throw up a little bit in my mouth. So if we can get away from those, focus more on that Mass Effect vibe, you may be onto something there. Similarly, Warlock, Dungeons and Dragons. This also looked great. They demonstrated excellent world building, excellent combat, excellent abilities, but one thing in there also that really kind of got under my skin. This little flying imp that is following you around, kind of hinting at what you should do next. Get these characters out of games. We do not need them. We do not need them. We are smart enough to figure out things on our own. Put subtle cues, subtle hints in the world. Not bright yellow paints painted all over the place. Not flying imps that talk in our ear every 2 seconds. But otherwise, that looks great. And I think they are onto something there as well. A lot of the rest of this stuff, again, of no interest to me whatsoever. I thought it looked very generic, a lot of this stuff here. Afterworld looked kind of interesting, looked like a collapsed United States, and then you got to rebuild the country, a strategy game sort of thing. That looks like that could be appealing to me personally. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like a cool concept. Hitman World of Assassination is getting a Snoop Dogg expansion. Yes, you heard me right. A Snoop Dogg expansion for Hitman World of Assassination. Those games are excellent. If you've not played them, go play them. But again, back to my original point, where is the new Hitman? What are you doing with that franchise next? To shake it up, to make it relevant to the modern expectations, to become a new genre-defining experience in and of itself. Or maybe it's time to just put Hitman to bed for a few years. I'd be down for that too. Metro 2039 looked great. Would love to see more of it. Monster Hunter Outlanders. I know a lot of you out there are massive Monster Hunter fans. I've played one of them all the way through. It's the one that I got on PS5. What one was that? Monster Hunter Wilds. Fun. Decent overall. But that game, I don't know, again, it just doesn't really grab me, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of the series. Showa American Story. I think this looks like it's got potential for sure. What else? Crazy Taxi World Tour. I don't know about that one, you guys. I really don't. Again, the art style. Yeah, the fault nightification of art in gaming also makes me feel physically sick. So yeah, that's not too appealing to me. Stage Tour. This was an interesting one. Guitar Hero, Rock Band. Basically a carbon copy of those games with massive bands, new plastic instruments, all sorts of stuff. We'll see if that can make an impact. Turok Origins. Back to Turok. Interesting. I had Turok 2 on the N64. You guys remember that? The what was it called? The cerebral bore, the gun where you fire it and it shoots this little homing beacon and it lands on the dinosaur's head and sucks their brain out. Fantastic. Absolute cinema. What else did we get? Path of Exile 2. That looked great. Heroes of Might and Magic 3. That looked good. Never played that series, but I know it's got a strong, one of those hardcore dedicated fan bases from back in the day. Would be interested in playing that for sure. What else do we get? No Law. It's the cyberpunk genre, the generic fantasy genre. I think these are two things that need to be put to bed for a while. And unless you're doing something that's truly phenomenal, let's leave the cyberpunk, let's leave the general fantasy stuff. Let's put that in the closet for a while. I think we've seen a little bit too much of it. Quite a few games with animals as the protagonists. This one was kind of interesting. The Defiant, a World War II game from the Chinese perspective. China fighting off, of course, the Japanese. So that's kind of interesting. A new take on the World War II genre. I believe that is also created by a Chinese developer. And Chinese developers have been proving to us that they can create fantastic games. Black Myth Wukong, need I say more? And then, of course, the final massive game that got quite a lot of airtime here, Final Fantasy VII Revelation. Now, I loved the original Final Fantasy VII Remake. Thought it was great. One of the best JRPGs, action JRPGs that I have ever played. I love the combat. I love the fact that you have to really use all of the abilities. I love the fact that you have to actually upgrade your weapons and your armor. You have to make use of everything if you really want to progress well in that game. And then I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I was thrown into what I saw as a pretty generic open world filled with pretty generic mini games that I was being forced to complete, and I gave up on that game probably like a quarter of the way through. I think the third installment here, what was this one called? Revelation. I think what they showed looked good. But obviously, I'm going to have to go back and complete Rebirth before I can go to this. So again, I need help on this one, you guys. What am I missing with Rebirth? Is there a way that I can play that game and experience it and have fun with it like I did the first one? I do not play games on story mode setting, so that is not an option for me. I play games for the challenge that they can offer me, for the fantastic environments and atmosphere that they can provide that I can't obviously experience that in the real world. Help me like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because I do want to play Revelation. I would like to play Rebirth. I want to like Rebirth, but I need help. What am I missing? Subscribe if you're new here. We wait for the Xbox presentation tomorrow, or I guess technically today. Now I'm filming this video very late. What are Xbox going to reveal? Are they going to show us the disc to digital program? Are they going to hit Sony in the face with a metaphorical sledgehammer by doing that? I mean, it's possible. So we're going to see what happens there. I will be back, of course, covering that, covering all of the calamities in the gaming industry in 2026. Thank you all again so much for the support. Share this video everywhere you possibly can. Consider becoming a member of the channel here and supporting my work, because I am not gonna stop trying to push this industry into the right place. Thank you all for your support. I'll be back with more tomorrow.